Yo, what up? It's the King, baby. And today I'm making a Harry Potter movies tier list. That's right. I'm going to go through all 8 movies. I'm not going to do the Fantastic Beasts movies. They're not very, they're not in the realm of these movies, okay? These are separate, all right? Plus, I don't think those movies are that good anyway. I'd probably put them in the C tier. If you guys didn't know, if you can't already tell, huge Harry Potter fan. Got 2 banners there. I got a thing up there you probably never seen. You got 4 wands, all the books, even that garbage called Cursed Child. Don't get me started on that. But I plan on making a book tier list as well. But I'm going to start with the movies since that's more common to the people. They're not as good as the books, obviously, but let's get started here. Let's get started. So first we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Let's be real here, okay? It's a nice introduction to the world of Harry Potter. It's a nice introduction to the franchise, and it gets you kind of right in there. But as movies go, and comparing it to the book, it follows the book pretty decently for the most part. It stumbles here and there, because I've read the books 3 times, so I know what I'm talking about for the most part. I haven't read them in a couple years, but anyway, the first movie, it's okay. I'm not going to put it in great. I'm going to put it in good. And the reason why is because if you look at it action-wise, there's not a whole lot. It's basically the end of the movie where it all happens. Most of the movie, other than the Quidditch match, is just straight up kind of learning about Hogwarts and all these classes and all this other stuff. And so you kind of have, if you're not like a huge Harry Potter fan, you kind of have a somewhat a boring movie, if you ask me. But since I'm a huge fan of it, I really like it. And if I'm being honest, the sequence with the library and the invisibility cloak and the music in that sequence, I hate it. I don't know why. I just don't like it. It's the music for me mainly, but the whole sequence. He opens up the book and I don't care. Okay, get to Nicholas Flamel. All right, let's get moving. All right, get to the mirror. So overall, good movie. It's a good addition. It's a good beginning to the franchise. But overall, I don't think it's one of the best ones. It's average. It's average at best. Next up, Chamber of Secrets. Now, I might get a lot of flack for this, but I put this in great and almost one of the best. It's honestly in the middle for me. I'm going to put it here. The reason why is it follows, out of all the movies, it follows the book the best. There's no question about it. It follows everybody's petrification in order. It does everything right with the spiders, Hagrid, everything. The dueling club. It basically nails the entire book, all in one movie. And it's one of the longer movies as well, if I can remember. It's got a lot of deleted scenes too. But yeah, and it's not a bad movie. And I really think Chamber of Secrets is underrated. I really do. And it's mainly because I was thinking about this like before I made this video too. Like Chamber of Secrets, if you think about it plot-wise, it's incredible. They come into the school year. It starts off normal. Things get a little tricky, haywire, right? People start getting petrified. And it gets to the point where they're going to have to shut Hogwarts down. This great place where they can learn magic. And specifically for Harry, where this is basically his home now, right? Because he doesn't like living with the Dursleys. And they have to shut it down because all these people are getting petrified. And who knows when the next person is going to end up being dead and not petrified. And to top it off, one of the goats of the trio, Hermione Granger, she gets petrified herself. And you look at it, it's like, man, everything is going up against Harry right now. He's about to lose Hogwarts. He just lost his best friend, or one of his best friends, and he has to come in clutch, right? And so he saves the day at the end. I just like how it all kind of crescendos, and then bam! He pulls out the sword of Gryffindor. The Phoenix comes and helps him. Fox the Phoenix comes and helps him, makes the basilisk go blind. He stabs the book with the fang, and we didn't know it yet at the time, but that's a Horcrux. That was huge. If you think about it, that's huge. It's a huge plot point. And I think this movie is underrated, and honestly, it's an underrated book too. The book is really good. And if I'm being real, Dubby, he's kind of an annoying little guy at the beginning of the movie, like when he does the cake thing. but he's one of my favorite characters, seriously. And his death in Deathly Hallows it makes me cry. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's very sad. I do like W a lot, and yeah, I think this is a really good movie. Follows the books probably better than any of them, and that's why I put it in great. It's not the best because once again, it's kind of like Sorcerer's Stone. It's a little bit boring, but it's very tense. I will say, a lot of the movie is very like tense. You know, I don't know how to explain it. Very good overall. All right, Prisoner of Azkaban. This is obvious. It doesn't follow the books perfectly well. They left a lot out, especially with the Marauders, right? Harry's dad, Lupin, Pettigrew, and Sirius, right? And that's what this book was basically about. It was really explaining the whole Marauders, right? The map, their relationship, and explaining how Sirius wasn't really the bad guy. And in the movie, they kind of just they run right through it. And I get it for movie's sake. Like, that chapter was freaking long. I'll tell you what. And it was honestly, like, in a way, kind of boring when I read it. It's been like I haven't read the books in 5 years because I've read them so many times. I don't need to read them again, but I'll read them again one day. Anyway, that chapter was kind of boring, but it's very important. It's very important in the series to know the relationships and everything like that, because you'll need that knowledge later on. And so this movie, as good as it is, it has probably the best soundtrack out of all the movies as well. It just doesn't follow the book that's the only flaw this movie has. It doesn't follow the book as well as some of the other movies do. Mainly with the Marauders. Other than that, it's a freaking fantastic movie. The cinematography is excellent. The movie looks beautiful. It's the most unique looking out of all the Harry Potters, for sure. And it might be a weird thing to say, but I loved all of the characters. Like, their hair is perfect in this movie. Harry, look at this. Look at this real quick. Daniel Radcliffe, prisoner of... I probably spelled that wrong. Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm going to show you his hair real quick, okay? You tell me right now, like, out of all these pictures, I mean, I don't know which one to choose. How about this one? Tell me right now that his hair doesn't look absolutely terrific. I mean, just look at it. It's terrific. Even Rupert Grint's hair is terrific. I will say Hermione's hair, I didn't like it as much in this one. Her hair really starts to get good around the fourth movie. That's when I start liking her hair. But the main trio's hair, like, it's really good. I love Daniel's hair in this movie. It's great. And then he grows it out in this one. It looks like, what are you doing? You're a shaggy dog. You know? What are you doing? More about the movie. I don't know. Everything about it's great. Lupin, obviously he's the best defense against the dark arts teacher. He's obviously the best. And if it weren't for the fact that he was half a werewolf, he probably would have stayed. But it was cursed. The position was cursed. So he, like, you know, everybody, every single year. Next. He was a great teacher and a great person as well. He was really good. And he's one of my favorite characters as well. And then, of course, Sirius. I mean, what could you say about him? He wasn't in the movie all that long, but when he was, excellent actor too. It's a really good ass movie, dude. And Buckbeak, when I was younger, man, I thought Buckbeak was dope. I thought, man, I want a hippogriff myself. Buckbeak was so freaking cool to me. Such a nice, gentle creature. When you do the right thing, you gotta bow, all that stuff. But if you're like Malfoy and you call it an ugly brute, you know, you're gonna get clawed. You know what I mean? So overall, like I said, it's probably in my opinion, it's the second best. For me, Order of Phoenix, you'll see soon, it's my favorite, but this is definitely up there in the top tier. Alright, Goblet of Fire. So I might get a lot of hate for this too, but I'm going to put it in great. As a matter of fact, I put it over Chamber of Secrets. Obviously, this gets a lot of flack because it's probably, out of all of these, the worst one, following the book-wise. I mean, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? He said calmly. Yeah, fucking right. He did not say that calmly. Come on. This movie skips a ton of the book. And I was thinking about it, like, maybe it's because this is the first book that was huge. Like, Prisoner of Azkaban was, like, I think 21, 22 chapters, and to jump from 22 chapters to a book that had, I think, 36 chapters is insane. And so when they made this movie, they're like, this is their first movie that they have to be like, oh man, there's a lot to fit in here. And of course they did better with the further movies of adding stuff in, but like they really missed a lot of important stuff that Goblet of Fire had. It's really unfortunate. It's my favorite book, by far my favorite book. I think it's the most unique because of the whole tournament thing. It's not a bad movie though. It's really not. It's very well paced in my opinion. How it goes from, put the name in the goblet. Okay, task 1, do a little side stuff. Task 2, side stuff. Task 3, and a movie. And Cedric Diggory's death, I mean, what else can you say? That's one of the worst deaths in the franchise. I mean, I named my damn dog after this character. Seriously, I think Cedric, he's in the books a lot more than he is in the movies, because I'm pretty sure he's only in the 4th movie. It's crazy to me, but he's in the books a lot more. He's a great character though, and I don't really know what else to say. Like, this movie is mainly, the action is good. It's well paced. The acting is good. I think Ron is hilarious in this movie. Probably the most funny he is in any of the movies, in my opinion. Like, he starts off as a dickhead, and I get why people don't like that, but you have to think about it, right? Harry Potter. This guy literally comes into his life, and he gets everything. He's rich, and he doesn't even have parents, right? He's rich. He's famous. People like him. Like, basically everybody likes him. He can do all these crazy things with magic because he's already like so talented. He's good at Quidditch. And he's brave. I mean, he beat Voldemort literally twice already, basically. He's got it all. And to think this is one thing that Harry wasn't going to be able to do is join this tournament. And to think that he did anyway, of course Ron's going to be mad because Ron is jealous. Let's be real here. He's jealous. He's straight up jealous. He doesn't have as good as a life as Harry. Well, can't really say that. Harry suffered a lot. More than Ron probably ever will know. Because he'll never be able to feel that pain that Harry does, having parents and anything like that. But he's jealous. Harry just keeps getting to do whatever he wants, basically. And he's the coolest guy around. And the one thing that he shouldn't be able to do that's really cool, if you can do, he gets to do anyway. And so Ron's pissed for a little bit. And of course, Harry's trying to tell him he didn't put his name in there. It was done by somebody else. Ron doesn't believe it. And then, of course, after the first task, he realizes, you know what? I don't think he really did. And so they become buddy-buddy. And it's really good. I like that he realizes he's being stupid. And he's really funny in this movie after all the bull crap that he pulls. Especially when he gets the suit for the ball. It's funny. Other than the fact that, like I'm gonna finish up here. Like, it doesn't follow the book very well at all. A lot of missed stuff. Like Winky and Dobby is supposed to be in this too. Like when he gets the gillyweed from Neville. Like no. He gets the gillyweed from Dobby the fucking elf. Dobby gives him the gillyweed in the book, and that's how he does the second task. And then you got Winky, which is Barty Crouch's elf. And then you have this whole spew thing, too, with Hermione, which I'm not that mad that they left that out. It's kind of boring. It's a boring chapter, if I'm being honest, but it's still there, you know. It's not a bad movie, though. But following the book-wise, it's probably the worst. All right, anyway. Let's get to the 5th one, my favorite movie. All right. Order of the Phoenix is by far my favorite. The way it's filmed, some of the shots, incredible. The music, other than Prisoner of Azkaban, is probably the best in the series for me. The whole story of Order of the Phoenix is just incredible. This is where Harry really starts to feel the effects of Voldemort, being basically a part of him is in him, and he doesn't know it really until towards the end. He starts to realize that he's got this connection with Voldemort, and it's this whole thing of it's kind of like Chamber of Secrets a little bit, where it's all against him. Like, nobody believes Voldemort's back except for his close friends, who obviously are going to believe what Harry says. I mean, come on. Even some of the Gryffindors, other the students, they didn't believe him for a little bit. And then, like Seamus, he's like, oh yeah, fuck you, Harry, Voldemort's not back. Whatever my mom says is true. And then he realizes, before they start doing the Dumbledore's army thing, right? And the room of requirement. He realizes, you know what? Why would Harry lie about this? Like, come on. And they all have a kumbaya. It's a great movie. The whole room of requirement thing, and Harry, like, he's teaching other people because he's so talented, right, with the magic, obviously. And he's already seen so much stuff that these guys have no idea what, like, they don't even know the half of it. You know what I mean? Like, when he faced Voldemort, they couldn't even describe what that was like, probably. They wouldn't even know how to feel. And so, of course, it's only fitting that Harry's teaching them, because he knows what he's doing. And, it turns out in the end, it's like, of course, Dumbledore fights Voldemort, which, by the way, is probably the best wand battle out of all the movies. Dumbledore versus Voldemort was great. Trying to think, what was I going to say? Yeah, and like how Fudge comes in at the end, and he finally sees him. He's like, oh my god, he's back. And it's just a nice wrap-up. I mean, Sirius dies in this movie, and I saw this one thing, like, a while back. Like, if you could bring one Harry Potter character back to life, who would it be? A lot of people said Fred. I don't blame him. A lot of people said Dumbledore, whatever. It's Sirius for me. It's definitely Sirius, because that is, like, the only family he would really have left. Since he died, he'd had nothing. Obviously, he has the Weasleys, and he has Hermione. All of them, they're close. It's really nice. It's good. But it's not Sirius. You know what I mean? He's the only one that was left alive, besides Lupin, that was closest to his family, to his dad, to his mom. And he was literally his godfather. So he'd be the one I bring back. That way Harry has somebody. And then the next person I bring back probably be Fred. Because I couldn't imagine being George. Oh, man. I couldn't imagine being in his spot. They grew up together. They literally run a joke shop together. And he died. Like, it's sad. It's really sad. And that's another thing about the joke shop. Real quick about Goblet of Fire. That's another thing that pisses me off so much. When Harry won the Triwizard Tournament, in the movie, it was just supposed to be, this cup. No. He wins a ton of money. He wins a ton of money as well. And instead of taking that money, he gave, I think, most, if not all of it, to the Weasley twins. And that is how they opened up their joke shop in the sixth movie. They took that money, said thanks, waited a year, and they graduate Hogwarts, and then boom, joke shop. And that was because of Harry. He was so generous, and they left it out. It's very important, because they just have a joke shop out of nowhere, and the Weasleys are known to be poor in the movies. Like, come on. How does that happen? Come on, what are you doing? Anyway, back to the fifth movie. The whole prophecy thing, very important, and they nailed that pretty well. Although, of course, it's explained better in the books, but they nailed it good enough. I don't know. To me, this is my favorite one. It's my favorite one. And that final scene, too, when Voldemort is overtaking Harry, and Harry fights back with, like, the thoughts of love and everything, it makes me cry every time. It is so powerful. My headset just died. Let me turn that back on. But yeah, it's very good. It's definitely my favorite. I know a lot of people like Prisoner of Azkaban more than any of them, and I don't blame them. Growing up, that used to be my favorite too, but then you start to actually learn what things mean, and it's just my favorite. It's my favorite. I don't know. Let's go to my least favorite. Here we go. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I'm not going to put any of these in D tier, by the way, just so you know. I think they're all decent movies, but this is by far my least favorite. The whole film has this feel, this look, the coloring, everything. It is depressing. It is depressing. The most depressing film out of all of them. There are only a couple happy-go-lucky moments in the film. There's a couple good jokes, but for the most part, it's very sad. And you have to think of it like if you read the books coming into this, you knew Dumbledore was going to die. Of course, they're going to set off the movie with that tone, like, hey, this is going to be sad, because Dumbledore, the most powerful wizard in the world, probably, if you want to think about it, and he dies, and without him, this fight against Voldemort is going to be very hard, and that's why Voldemort wanted Malfoy to kill him in the first place. But this movie is really where it sets up Snape even more so, though. I will give him that. It makes him, like when he says shh to Harry, and then he goes and kills Dumbledore anyway. I mean, how's Harry going to feel? You know what I mean? He's going to think, oh my gosh, this dude Snape really is bad. And then he finally gets the memories in the Pensieve in part 2, and it all clicks. But yeah, this movie is just depressing as hell. It's so sad. And I get it. I get why. I mean, they even set it up, if you never read the books, they set it up. It's very, very huge foreshadow in the beginning when Snape does the unbreakable vow. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. He does the unbreakable vow that if Draco can't kill Dumbledore, that he would. And so it just sets it up really well. That, like, hey, like, it's pretty obvious they're going to kill Dumbledore here. And not only that, but they also show Dumbledore's hand is decaying, all that. It's like, this guy's out. He's kicking the can. And then on top of that, it's out of all the movies, this one is the most teen drama heavy. Like, there's so much bull crap with all the love. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it was done way better in the books. Like, Harry has this thing for Ginny, but Dean is actually the one dating her, and he's treating her like crap because she's crying all the time. Ron, he's popular because he made the Quidditch team, and this chick, why can't I think of her name? I know her name. Oh my god, I'm gonna be so mad. I know her freaking name. She's very important in this movie. Hang on. Ron's girlfriend, Half-Blood Prince. I see the name. I know. Lavender Brown. That's it. Yep, I knew it. Promise. So, Lavender Brown starts dating him, and Hermione gets jealous. And it's not even just them. Like, and then Cho Chang, she's in there too a little bit. And then a lot of other sides. So it's just, and the whole Slughorn thing. Like, I think the most interesting thing about this movie was the whole Half-Blood Prince book, right? And when Ron is like literally about to die, and he finds something in the book to help save him, that was pretty sick. The book is very important, and that's why Snape, of course, is the potions master, because even though he wants defense against the dark arts, he's very talented in potions. I mean, he literally made edits in that book. He's a smart dude. He's a smart dude, and it's probably the most interesting aspect about the movie to me, is the whole book and how it's completely different from what the book tells him, and he just pops off. Like the whole scene when he had to make the one potion that incinerates. I don't know what the potion was called, so he could win the liquid luck. That was really cool, and it was funny to see Hermione on the top of the class in every class, just struggling, while Harry's like, I don't know, crush it, don't cut it. It's fun. One of the only good parts of the movie, in my opinion. It's just so depressing. And at the end, when he's going with Dumbledore and he's forcing him to drink that poisonous liquid, I don't know what the hell it was, in order to get the locket, which turned out to be fake, by the way. It's so sad just seeing Dumbledore suffer like that. But I will say, at the end, pretty sick when all those Inferi just got incinerated. It just shows you how powerful Dumbledore is, even when he's weak. Like, he's a badass. And then the whole, as depressing as the movie is, and even the flashback scenes with Voldemort as a kid, right? They're important, and they honestly are intriguing to watch, because you can see how he is even as a child, like how devilish he is. He's just an evil guy, and he never knew how to love. He was born without knowing how to love. Like, he couldn't do it. He physically could not love. So, Yeah, it's just, to me, it's not a terrible movie, but it is my least favorite by far. And the music in this movie is so depressing too. Just the whole movie, it just looks so depressing. And it's funny, out of all the years in Hogwarts, this is the most normal one out of all the movies. It's the most normal one. There's not a whole lot going on other than Harry, he's trying to get the memories from Slughorn. That's basically the whole plot. He's trying to get the memories, and he doesn't get it until like the summer, which is like nearly a whole year. You know, that's most of the movie. And then when he finally gets them, then he goes and gets the locket. It's mainly about the teen drama, and just they're kind of just chilling. You know, other than Malfoy, the whole Malfoy thing too is very interesting to me. Malfoy is a tragic character because you can tell he looks like a guy that he doesn't want to be bad, but his parents are literally Death Eaters, so he has to be, and he doesn't want to kill Dumbledore. You know, he's just doing what his parents do, right? He's following after them. Yeah, man. I feel bad for him. And all he wanted to do in the beginning was be Harry's friend, and so when Harry denied him, he started being a dickhead the whole time. I don't know. Malfoy is a very interesting character to me. I just feel really bad for him. Anyway, not a very good movie to me. Very depressing. Alright, next one. Deathly Hallows Part 1. This is not an easy one to rank. I'm going to put it in good. Here's why, okay? The movie is very... Honestly, it's almost as boring as Half-Blood Prince. Half-Blood Prince. But the action makes up for it. And also the story does too. It's funny how this whole entire movie, they only kill one Horcrux. But in the next movie, they kill like 3 to 4. I can't remember the exact number. I'm not going to think about it right now. It's just funny how it just goes from one, that whole movie, to the rest in the next. It's just funny. And they had to make 2 parts, of course, because this is very important to nail. Since that book is... Actually, it's funny. This is the second biggest book. The biggest book is Order of the Phoenix. And yet they made this a 2-parter. So they did miss out a decent amount in this book, movie too, as well, by the way. But Deathly Hallows Part 1, definitely, it's not a bad movie. It starts off slow, and then picks up a little bit once they have to leave the wedding. Well, no, it picks up when they go to the Burrow, and then it slows down a little bit. Leave the wedding, pick up. Slows down, picks up at the Ministry, slows down, picks up at Godric's Hollow, slows down. It's kind of like a roller coaster, you know? Like a lot of hills. I don't know how to explain it. It's a good movie. The whole sequence with the Horcrux, with Ron, great. It was a great sequence because Ron is looking at his like worst fears that Harry would be with Hermione, and he's like, nah, this guy gets everything. Not letting that happen. Bam! Destroys it. Stud moment for Ron. Harry finding the sword. Oh, great. That was sick. That was sick because you're just waiting for it to happen. Like he finds it in the book and you're waiting in the movie. You're like, when's he going to find it? And he finally walks up. Bam! Finds it in the lake. It's great. It's great. The Umbridge thing, how she had it, that was pretty cool. In the newspaper, when Mundungus Fletcher, he comes in and he's like, oh, there she is, big bow and all. And then they realize, oh my god, this bitch, we gotta freaking kill her now, or not kill her, but we gotta steal it from her. What are the odds? You know, they had to deal with her 2 movies ago. It's funny. It's really good stuff. And then Dobby's in this movie, and oh man, that ending there, when he sacrificed himself, basically. Like, he didn't know the knife was coming, of course, but like, he took the knife for all of them. Dobby is such a good character, dude. He's such a sweet little elf, and he wants nothing more than to help Harry Potter. Like, he doesn't want Harry to come to harm. It's sad. I honestly think of Dobby as like my dog a little bit. Like, I love the little guy. Love him so much. He's such a sweet, innocent little guy. Um, yeah, the sequence when they turn into when they use the polyjuice is pretty good too. It's pretty funny when he kisses the lady at the end too, and he's transforming. It's funny. Um, the whole relationship thing between the three, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, it's very. I'd say it's good. It's really good at like after like once Ron comes back because it you can feel it. It's back to normal. Because I think ever since they left, obviously Ron is stressed the hell out about his family. Hermione doesn't have to worry about her family because they're muggles and she wiped her memory, and obviously Harry doesn't have family. So it makes sense that Ron is stressed out more than any of them. He's listening to the radio all the time. It didn't help that he wore the Horcrux more than any of them, so it made him even more susceptible to anger and outlash. And you know when Ron yells at Harry, it's a sad scene because they're best friends. They've been best friends since the first movie, and for him to do that and leave, it's sad. It's sad. And then he comes back and realizes, you know what? This is my best friend right here. I have to help him out. And he stuck it out to the end, man. It's good. And you know, of course, Harry and Hermione get a lot of time here, and they do such a good job showing their friendship. It's nothing more than friendship. Like they don't feel any like love connection at all. Like you can tell. Like Hermione, she loves Harry like a brother, right? But she doesn't love him like she likes Ron. You know what I mean? Like she has different feelings for Ron. And Harry's just like her best guy friend ever. And they do a really good job of that. And it was really sweet when they went back to Godric's Hollow and she put a wreath around Harry's parents' grave. Hermione is such a good friend. She really is. And so is Harry. I love these movies, man. I love these books. They're so good. Anyway, overall, it's a good movie. The action's pretty good. It's well paced. It's like a roller coaster, kind of though. It's a good movie. It sets up a really good movie. I'm gonna put this in great. I don't think this movie is amazing, but it nails. I'm gonna put this right. I'm gonna put this right here. It's almost there. It's almost at the best category. And I say this movie is better than this one, of course. And then you know, like what do you say about this movie? Voldemort dies. It's over. This is the finale. You know, from the beginning of the movie, it's bam, 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 constantly going. They go to the vault and they get the cup. You know, that whole sequence is sick with the dragon and they escape, and it's pretty funny when Hermione turns into Bellatrix Lestrange to get into the vault in the first place. It's sick. They escape on the dragon, and then bam, they're they're in Hogsmeade, and they have to sneak out and sneak around because they're on high alert for Harry Potter. And then Dumbledore's brother, can't think of his name, but I know his name. Something Dumbledore. I'm gonna look it up because it irritates me. There's some names I just can't remember. Dumbledore brother. Aberforth. Perfect. Got it. Aberforth, you know, he comes in, he's like, alright, I got you. Don't worry about it. And he's kind of like telling Harry, like, you don't really know my brother, which is true. Going back and looking, I love Dumbledore. I still do. But he really did set up Harry for slaughter without even letting him know. He kind of just guided him along for the process. But it was for a good reason. And I know he truly did in the end. Like, he cared about Harry. I know he did. But he was also caring about the whole rest of the world. Because I don't think he knew that Harry would come back to life until after it happened. Like when he's in heaven or whatever. But let's just say for the fact that he didn't know Harry would come back to life, like, sure, we're going to lose Harry. A great kid, right? Going to be a great wizard. but we're going to save a lot of other people if we do this, because then Voldemort dies, you know? Anyway, you keep going. They get into Hogwarts. That whole thing was freaking awesome. They get in, and Neville's like, hey, come on in. I got a surprise for you guys. And Neville, oh man, he's one of my favorite characters too. He comes from this cowardly little guy. And then in the 5th movie, he finally starts to evolve into a good wizard. And he's becoming brave, especially because of his parents. He said he's proud to be his son. And that's another thing about that movie. They messed up. They went on Christmas break to St. Mungo's Hospital, and they ran into Neville and his grandma there, and they literally met his parents, and they were going insane. They were saying the weirdest stuff, and it was a terrible way for Neville to have his friends find out about his parents. But in the movie, he just secretly tells Harry, yeah, my parents are insane, but I'm proud to be their son. I don't want anybody to know, though. Okay. So, it's weird. But Neville turned into such a good wizard, and he was so brave. He took on the Carrows, the teachers, and he said, hey, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing the curse on these kids. What the fuck is wrong with you? And so he gets in trouble, gets beating and stuff. But it doesn't matter, because he's Neville freaking Longbottom, and he knows what's right. Neville's great. And then they let him in to the Gryffindor common room, and it's like, oh my gosh, yes, Harry Potter is back with Ron and Hermione. It's so good to see you. And it's great. And then they set up this plan to go into the Great Hall, basically, and Harry comes out, and it's like, how dare you stand where you stood? And he doesn't really know what's going on. And then Snape leaves. And then Harry is there. And he's like, alright, we need to find this other Horcrux. And then it takes a minute, but Luna finally gets to Harry. And she's like, Harry Potter, you listen to me right now. And he's like, oh, okay, fine, I get it. She tells him where the diadem probably is. And it's in the room of requirement, of course. I'm sorry, no. She tells her about Ravenclaw. Rowena or Ravenclaw or whatever, and he finds her, he talks to her for a little bit, and she tells him where it's at. It's in the requirement. That sequence is alright with the fire and everything and flying on the brooms. I didn't think it was that good. I liked that he came back to save Malfoy, though. That was cool. It was cool how they destroyed it, though, where they kind of I don't remember what he did. I think they stabbed, what did they do? I know they kicked it into the fire. They kicked it into the fire. I'm blanking right now. I think Ron and Hermione, they go down in the Chamber of Secrets, they stab the cup with the fang, and then Ron comes back up with Hermione, and they stab the cup with the fang. Or, I'm sorry, the diadem with the fang, and then they kick it into the fire, and then it explodes. It's pretty sick. I like how every time they destroy a Horcrux, they go in and they look at Voldemort, and he's like getting weaker and weaker and weaker. I like when they do the whole shielding spell over Hogwarts. I like how all the students, even the younger ones, are like fighting. They're fighting for Hogwarts. The Battle of Hogwarts is just sick, man. It is sick. And then we get to one of the very sad scenes. They go back into the Great Hall. What's going on with my headset right now? They get into the Great Hall, okay? And you see all these people either injured or they're dead. You get in there and you see Fred lying down, and it's just sad. And then you see you see Tonks and Lupin. They're lying down dead. Oh, it's sad, you know? It's really sad. Sorry, I'm deep in thought right now. And then, this is after, like, Voldemort does the whole thing. And then it's really, like, the movie is shot really well. Uh, it looks somber like Half-Blood Prince, so I didn't like that. But it gets better. It's actually kind of funny how like the whole movie lightens up a little bit after Voldemort dies. It lightens up. And then of course the sacrifice from Snape. It's terrific. And then he finished like the last words he says is, "You have your mother's eyes," and he gets to look at Lily's eyes one last time. It's beautiful. Sorry, I'll talk about Snape here in a minute. His whole character thing. And then the tears come down. Oh, little teardrops, little teardrops. Gets the memories, and then Harry looks in the memories, and it's incredible. It tells exactly what he needed to know, and that's why he made sure he took him to the Pontiff. It's incredible, and Harry finally learns. Like, oh my gosh, Snape was a good guy the whole time. So though he goes to die, because he realizes he needs to die, so he goes and dies, which is huge. Talks to Dumbledore, comes back to life, and the speech by Neville, magnificent. It's incredible. It's a great speech, and he pulls out the sword, and then Harry's like, "All right, time to fight." Gets up, and it's so awesome watching the fear, like the panic on Voldemort's face as he's like, "This is the second time he has lived. Are you kidding me?" And all these Death Eaters are leaving as they're just kind of realizing, like, "Are you kidding me? He failed a second time? I'm out of here." And they all start leaving as Bellatrix is like, "Come back here, you cowards!" It's incredible. It's a great sequence. And then Harry's like, "We have to kill the snake." And then it gets to that point. The final fight is cool. I liked when Molly Weasley made Bellatrix explode, although I really wanted Neville to kill her, just because of the fact that she tortured his parents, along with Crouch, of course. It would have been really nice. Would have been really nice to see. But unfortunately, he did not get to do that. But instead, he got to do the very important task of killing the snake. So he came in out of nowhere, sliced its head off, and this part really irritates me. In the book, the final showdown was in the Great Hall, and Voldemort died a human death. Once the final Horcrux was killed, he turned into like a human, basically, like his human form, and then he died. But instead, in the movie, what we get is ashes. He just turns to ash and just dies. Excuse me. And it's just like, why? Why did you do that? Why couldn't you be like the book? It's so simple. And he didn't do it. I don't get it. I also didn't like at the end, like, it's great when he killed him. It's finally ended, But Harry, in the book, fixes his wand, his old wand that was broken earlier. Hermione accidentally broke it. Stupid fly. And he fixed his wand with the Elder Wand. He repaired it. And then he buried the wand back with Dumbledore. But in the movie, he just says, "Okay, see you later," you know what I'm saying? Now, I don't blame him for breaking it. That wand is way too powerful to be in anybody's hands, especially if they find out that Harry is the owner. Like, that person's gonna try and kill him or disarm him, whatever, just for the wand. But I don't know. They fricked it up. They fricked it up big time. At least let him repair his wand. I don't understand. Anyway, and then the final shot there with the three trio holding hands, staring off, and then the music playing. It's like we started this journey with these guys, and now we're finishing it. It was beautiful. Brings a tear to my eye just thinking about it. And then, of course, the final sequence, 19 years later. Every time I cry, every time, dude. It's sad. It's sad because I grew up watching these movies. And so to see the final ending with the three trio, right, as older people, like, with their kids going off, the world is back to normal. Obviously, there's going to be some bad people out there, but there's no more worry about Voldemort. The scar's gone off of Harry. He named his son after Dumbledore and Snape. And then they just end the scene with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And it's just like, they started it all like that. We started our journey with them, now we're ending it on those three. And it's sad. It's like, man, it's ended. Man, I love the franchise so much, dude. I don't think any of these movies are really even bad. And the books, I love all of them. Even the sixth one. The sixth one is so info heavy, lore heavy. It's very important. It's very, very important. This is where we learn about the Horcruxes. And the movie, obviously, it can't put it all in there. It's just not a good movie anyway. And I'll say about the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, they did a pretty good job about keeping the same stuff in there for the most part. But of course, as all book to movie adaptations are, they can't have everything. If you want everything, you better make a damn TV show, which I would be totally down for, by the way. Harry Potter TV show, sign me up. But this is, at the same time, you can't get rid of Daniel Radcliffe and all that stuff. You just can't do it. It just wouldn't be the same. It's kind of like Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. You can't do it. Anyway, that's it for the movie rankings. So this is how I rank them. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm going to be making a tier list video for the books tomorrow, probably. Yes. And it's going to be a little bit harder to talk about because it's been like 5 years since I read them, and there's so much in the books I'm probably going to forget about. Obviously the movies, I've seen them even more because they're easier to watch the movies than to read the books, of course. Obviously, I think the books are better than the movies, but the movies are still really good, and they're easier to talk about. So, when it comes to the books, it might be a very short video. I can't believe this video is going to be like over nearly 50 minutes, almost an hour. So if you stuck with me this long, thanks a lot. And I'm going to talk a lot about Snape in the next video, because he's a character that I am in the middle on. I understand it, and I also can't stand it. But anyway, that is it for me. The king is out, baby. Peace.